Hello, everyone. Yeah, I know it's been a while since the last video. Things have happened. To start off with, uh, I've been playing Square Enix games since I was a boy, little boy. Starting with Final Fantasy II, which was actually Final Fantasy IV. Then, of course, eventually I found Final Fantasy I in a bargain bin in a Toys R Us. I remember that very clearly. That should give you more of a guess of what my age is. So it's no surprise I've been a Square Enix fan for quite some time. Dragon Warrior 1 I also found in a bargain bin at a Sears at some point. So yes, I've been a fan of both Square and Enix games, picking them up anytime I saw them. I remember seeing Dragon Warrior 1, 2, and 3 in a video rental store, and I even found 4 once, which was extremely rare since there wasn't many copies, and the one I found was actually in a Navy exchange over at Little Creek base in Virginia Beach. It was behind a glass case, standing right up. It was in a special package from the looks of it. It's about It was $120. And around that time, $120, considering now, is about $170. Yeah, $120 NES Dragon Warrior 4, Quest 4, pretty much, sitting there. So, I've known Square Enix for quite a long time. I've seen their business practices, I've read up on everything on them, articles, journals, everything on them. My first MMORPG was EverQuest. Phantasy Star Online might be a technicality, I did play that before then. But when Final Fantasy XI was announced, and I was at the near end of Plane of Power expansion of EverQuest, when I decided to quit, play Final Fantasy XI. My experiences in it had its ups, but mostly downs, since I was still an MMO noob at the time, but I enjoyed it for what I could. Granted, that's why I've been spending time with this EverQuest private server that ends in Planes of Power, as many of you have known already. And I'm actually near the end of it now. I just have to get a bunch of AA points, which takes time, but I am nearing Plane of Time, which is the absolute final raid zone for EverQuest. Once I've accomplished all my goals there, I will probably just drop it entirely, since EverQuest and never being able to complete all Planes of Power or raided it, because I was an MMO noob at the time, was a regret. Granted, now, because of what happened, I don't have much time anymore. EverQuest. Only to raid on it, which is a problem because I have to get AA points to make my character effective. Equipment isn't enough. Reason why I don't have time anymore now is because I have to spend more time on Dragon Quest due to what happened. Now, going back to Square Enix and Final Fantasy XI, it has been known by many Square Enix veterans, okay, that Square Enix has one of the worst GM's administrative customer service seen in MMORPGs to date. They tend to give you scripted responses. They will not listen to any reason. They will always believe that they are correct, and they will give a blanket response and blanket punishment, no matter what you try to tell them, what proof you give to them. And this has been apparent in Final Fantasy XI. I have seen some of the atrocities that happened in Final Fantasy XI to players, particularly since Final Fantasy XI had all of its servers were shared between Japanese and global players. I have, for one instance, there was this girl who liked to go fishing all the time in Final Fantasy XI. That's how she made most of her gil. She had dyslexia, and there was a rampant botting situation concerning fishing, where there were a lot of RMT botters using fishing to make gil to then sell customers. This dyslexia girl was fishing quite a lot this one day, about 6-7 hours straight. Again, just how she makes all her gil. When one of the special GM task force members that on the Japanese side discovered her and started accusing her and threatening her with ban and expulsion if she does not respond back. Thing is, the Japanese GM talked in broken English. Likely he was using some sort of translator. We didn't really had much of a Google I don't even think even had Google Translate back then at all. So he had to go off of a dictionary and a list of words and scripted nonsense. The girl was in tears trying to respond, since again she was having a hard time reading and responding to this Japanese GM. The North American GM then got involved and tried to explain to this Japanese GM, but the Japanese GM just kept superseding him and pulling rank, since of course the Japanese GMs are ranked higher. Despite what the North American GM tried to do and tried to explain, the Japanese GM jailed the girl, banned her for an entire month, and took all her gil away. She stopped playing after that. And after that happened, pretty much the entire English-speaking community on its server was in an uproar, and they started to camp steal mobs, hold mobs over out of Japanese time so they respawn only in English time, and they did this for several months. And this forced the GMs to constantly temporarily suspend or warn or ban players, but the thing is they couldn't ban them all. And it was such a disruption that they had to do a major investigation into it. That Japanese GM eventually got fired from his position. But a lot of the damage was done. It's because of lazy tactics and just blatant disregard for customer service that Square Enix is just, at least to us veteran players, notorious for these kind of acts. That's why anytime a player who is not a veteran of Square Enix MMORPGs gives any sort of perfect praise to the game, I have to constantly remind them of this sheer negative towards Square Enix MMORPGs. So, leading up to this, what happened is that I got a false positive flag. As you all know, I typically make my gold from buying low and selling high. I played a market. I've done this since EverQuest in quite a lot of MMORPGs that allowed this. That's how I primarily made my gold. Apparently, I set off some false positive. GMs got involved. They claimed I was RMT, or I bought RMT gold. For one thing, I had no idea that there was even any RMT activity in this game, because it's, well, Japanese only. 99% of the players... no, but 90% of the players are Japanese. So I figured the RMTs wouldn't even bother with Dragon Quest X, because there's just one audience, unlike other MMORPGs where there are audiences all around the world that they can sell to. But apparently there is RMT activity even in a game like this. I surmise that it would be extremely difficult to even buy any gold. So one, the websites are going to likely be in Japanese. Two, uh, unless they accept like PayPal or something that the whole world uses, there's really no way to make any purchases. At least that's what I believe, because I'm pretty sure they would only accept Japanese credit cards. So, despite I've argued with them about this, they pretty much took away all my gold. They took away my helmet, my gloves, my body armor, and my legs, as well as my sword and shield, and my glamored up greatsword, which had the tentacle boss at the painstakingly fight to get. Thankfully, I could still get that back through a special shop that's in Port Lendor. But there's about $10 worth of glamour on it, and no big deal, but it's still money. And now I have to do all that back again. That equipment costed up to around 25 million gold. All I have right now is about 15 million gold on me that I made just recently through selling off a lot of my assets. So until I can replace my gear, there won't be any more videos for story quests and such for a while. I'm going to be doing a lot of fishing, a lot of casinoing, a lot of side content that awards gold. And then, unfortunately, I will have to start over with saving up gold for my town, and it's going to take a tremendous amount of time compared to before. Which means I have to put all my other projects on hold. I have been playing a few games with my best friend Manami, like Nioh 2 and Monster Hunter Rise with her, because she's been getting very upset and depressed lately. And she really wanted to play those games, so I set aside time for her for that. As for EverQuest, it's a major problem because now I only have time to basically raid in EverQuest, and that's it. I will not be able to AA grind until I can resolve the situation, so that's going to be a pain for me too. So I'll be on the game a lot compared to before, especially now that I can't make gold through my way anymore. I'll have to make it through content in the game. And I may even have to take up crafting, where I will get my armor smithed up. I'm going to turn my weaponsmith into a lampsmith, or lamp alchemy, and make a third character for pot alchemy, because the only way to really make gold through crafting in this game is to do it all yourself. The problem with making gold in this game is it's all practically RNG. Don't have that much control over it. You can max out smithing, use the best hammer possible, but the only stuff that really sells are +2s and +3s, and the materials to make them, if it's a +2, you're going to barely break even. You could put some alchemy enchantments on it and maybe make some more gold on that, but the real money's in +3s and putting the correct enchantments on it. You never know if you're going to get a hocus pocus that'll screw it up. Players will buy equipment that has negative failed stats on it, so long as the enchantment that's on it is the maximum possible. But for one thing, for example, I want to make a Azure Cuirass. Typically, to make one of those, from what I looked, it costs about 600k materials. If you +2 it, great. You could probably sell it for 700k, maybe 800. If you +3 it, even better. You could probably sell it for 1.4, 1.5 million. If you +1 it, though, you're pretty much going to lose gold. Nobody's going to want to buy it unless it's cheap, so they can put an enchantment on it, use it to make sweat and tear crystals. when you're limited to 8 sails up at any time, okay, and you can't really just make a bunch of armor and put it all up. You have to wait for people to try to buy it. So making money that way just takes time. So I'll probably be doing a lot of fishing. Gonna tonight buy a probably late today or tonight after my EverQuest raid tonight. Buy a scroll, XP scroll, from the DQX shop, and go fishing in this one place in the ice tower, near the ice tower, which has always been an excellent source of fish coins and experience. Fishing can be lucrative, but you have to level it up enough to where you're good enough to be able to get high costing fish without having to spend 50 to 150k per rod and lure set. I'm pretty good, high up there in fishing. For that fishing spot, I'm pretty confident I can do it with just normal quality ice rod and spiky lure. If I gain another 6 or 7 levels, I could probably do it with just a standard rod and lure. But and that would only cost me maybe 20k per, but we'll see. But yes, until I can resolve this situation, get my equipment back up. Thankfully, they didn't take away my accessories. There won't be any more videos for a while. Hopefully, it won't take too long. Again, my equipment costed around 30 million or so. It's probably gonna take me some alchemy stones to fix pre-existing equipment. The problem with Dragon Quest X's equipment system really is that Zelmia runes isn't enough for armor. The armor tends to have random stats. You can get away with random stats on a sword or maybe even a shield, a weapon, which you can do the defense force with. But armor's different. You need specific stats on your armor. They have to be specific. None of this random stuff that Zelmia gives. Like, your helmet's gotta have resistances on it, because there's no telling what bosses you're gonna fight. It's gonna use all sorts of resistances. Confusions of pain, because you end up attacking your own party members and killing them. Paralysis can pretty much get you dead. Seal can pretty much get you dead. Charm will pretty much get you dead. Okay, for any sort of a high-end fight, any status ailment that prevents you from moving or stops you from being able to do actions will end up getting you killed. You gotta have these ailment resistances. And Zelmia Runes just doesn't do that. You pretty much have to buy this equipment. There's no getting around it. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll get a helmet that has the stats on it, or a piece that may have the stats on it. It's easier to get it on a helmet compared to other pieces that have many more other stats it could have. I actually have a helmet that has it, but the stats on it aren't good enough because you need 100% resist. 60%, 80%, 99% won't do. As long as there is even a 1% chance of you getting a status ailment, unless you have Holy Impenetrable up, basically you need a shield to do that. That's why I've seen a lot of Demon Swordsmen with shields, going sword and board, instead of Great Sword or Scythe. They do that because they get those extra defenses from the shield, and Holy Impenetrable will, for about 2 minutes, give them status immunity. And they can spam that. To be quite honest, I'm actually thinking about going sword and board for Demon Swordsman as well. But I'll see about it. So, yes. for a while. It's going to take me some time, but I will fix this. And anybody who's watching this that's from the team, okay, sorry, I won't be able to get you your My Town that you wanted for at least a while. It's going to take time. However, if any team members donate gold to the My Town, I will keep it in the bank, separate from my carried on gold, and put it towards the My Town. We need 150 million gold in order to get a My Town. And I will try to get at least 5 million gold a week, or however, or more if I can, however much I can, towards the My Town. There's no way around this. It's honestly unfortunate. Again, I am not even surprised by what happened. I'm just not. And Square Enix relies heavily on automated systems. One of them, again, checked a false positive because of my rapid accurement of gold through buying and selling. And since they don't have, again, good GM personnel, they're barely trained, and they barely know how to investigate, this happened. So I have no other choice but to go ahead and just grind it out. So give it about 2, 3, could be a month, but I will start making videos again once I at least resolve my equipment situation. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.